turn to eastern Ukraine, which the United Nations is warning is now one of the most mine-contaminated places on Earth. A report says more than 200,000 children are at risk of stepping on landmines and other explosive weapons. The nearly 4-year conflict between Ukraine's army and Russian-backed rebels is claiming the life of one child on average per week. The front line you can see here in red stretches along an almost 500-kilometre strip of land. The most dangerous areas are within 15 kilometres of the so-called contact line on both sides. More than 10,000 people have been killed since the conflict began in April 2014. There has been an escalation of violence this week as both sides accuse the other of violating a ceasefire. A new ceasefire is set to begin at midnight local time tonight. Well, Michael Bociurkiw is a global affairs analyst and former spokesman for the Organisation for Security and Cooperation in Europe's Special Monitoring Mission to Ukraine. He's just returned from the country and joins us now from Sydney, Canada. Michael Bociurkiw, welcome to you. As we count down to the new ceasefire, how much fighting is actually going on? There's supposed to be a truce in place already.
Hi, Karin. Good to be with you. Yes, it's a very actually dangerous situation right now. I can tell you that in a single day earlier this month, there were 4,000 single explosions throughout the conflict zone. That's a lot. And also between January and November of this year, there were about 500 civilian casualties, including many children. That's actually more than most of last year. So we're not in very good shape right now. As you mentioned, there is that Christmas ceasefire about to start in a few hours from now. They did have one last year, and it did last quite a few days. So the hope is that it will last also this year. But the problem, of course, is that a very important component of the peace process or ceasefire process is that the Russian generals, about 50 of them, who used to work alongside the Ukrainian armed forces in the occupied areas, have left. That means that there's really no one now to broker a ceasefire with the rebel side, no one to provide security guarantees, including for the OSCE. So it's very, very difficult to be optimistic right now.
Right. Now, Russia accused Ukraine of preventing those officers from fulfilling their duties. Are you saying, although that we might be expecting a ceasefire, new ceasefire to come into place in a few hours' time, there is no overall peace process?
The peace process is in very bad shape. The geopolitics is in bad shape because not only do you have the removal of those Russian generals who actually did work hard to, work with the OSCE to do these mini ceasefires, but, there were talks in Minsk just 24 hours ago, and nothing much came out of that. And then at the same time, you have a very, very destabilized Ukraine at the moment. President Poroshenko is in very weak shape right now. The Russian side is attacking him relentlessly. And also, we must remember that with elections happening soon in Russia, President Putin is expected to ratchet this up even further and show that, he's the strong man and that he can use this conflict to show Russia's capability to destabilize further.
We mentioned the toll that this is taking on the people in the border region. This has been going on for some 4 years now. Tell me what life is like for them.
Life is absolutely terrible. I've worked in Gaza. I've been to Afghanistan, many conflict areas. And I never thought I'd say this, Karin, but, when I go to some places in eastern Ukraine, it does look like some of those long-lasting conflict zones. And as you mentioned at the top, for UNICEF to declare that Ukraine, the contact line, is now one of the most mined areas in the world is a very big thing. And as we've seen in Afghanistan, Lebanon, and elsewhere, a lot of these unexploded devices look like toys or pens. Children pick them up, and with very grave consequences. One more quick thing, Karin, is that a lot of the shelling right now is happening near the Donetsk water filtration station, where a lot of chlorine gas is stored. Should one of those containers explode, it could cause massive casualties. So a lot to worry about at the moment, and I'm afraid the prospects for a ceasefire for peace don't look very good at the moment.
Okay, on that note, Michael Bociurkiw, thank you very much indeed for talking to us. We're out of time. Joining us from Sydney in Canada. Thank you.